Ralph Nader on the line with us. Ralph Nader, you and I over the years have discussed, as I recall, this would be the third of your most recent books at some length. We talked about Only the Billionaires Will Save Us. We talked about, what's the book about, the 29 areas where Unstoppable, was that it?
Yeah, Unstoppable, the emerging left-right alliance to dismantle the corporate state.
Right. And your new book is called Return to Sender, Unanswered Letters to the President, 2001 to 2015. And tell us about it.
Well, I wrote the book, and people are saying, why didn't you give up after the fourth letter to Bush or Obama?
Right.
First of all, I grew up respecting letters to elected officials.
Sure.
And I loved to read, even when I was a senior in high school, the Adams-Jefferson letters exchange between John Adams
those were amazing.
and Jefferson. And later on, I began to realize that, Tom, with due respect to your program, this is the most democratic media for the people. When they write a letter to a senator, representative, governor, mayor, whatever, no one is censoring that letter. No one is distorting that letter. That's the real voice of the people who should be respected. And so I write over 103 letters to Bush and Obama, and they're on a whole variety of subjects that you cover in your radio programs that are on people's minds. You know, you name it, I've written a letter on it. And with one or two exceptions, I got a form letter on my questioning the GM bailout, and I got a letter from Michelle's office, Michelle Obama, explaining that President Obama was too busy in 2012 to go 2 blocks and address 1,000 leaders of civic, labor, environmental, and charitable groups with millions of members. And, of course, Romney wouldn't do that. This would be a great plus for the president, the whole voluntary sector with millions of jobs out there. He could bring visibility, urge more contributions, hire more people. I even said it was a jobs program, and he was too busy to do that, although he goes to India to promote Boeing and motorcycles, Harley Davidson. He'll go to
and nuclear power plants
everywhere. You know, so this taken together, these letters represent, one, raising expectation level of the public as to what presidents should do, not do, what's going on in government he may not know about, what's going on in the country he may not know about. You know, if we have low expectations of our politicians, which is what our problem is, it's called cynicism, the politicians will oblige. It's like a parent. Low expectation for the children oblige. So that's one purpose of the book. And the second purpose is this emerging bad trend of not replying to people's letters and not even acknowledging their receipt by senators, representatives, unless you're a contributor, unless they want to use the letter as a prop, or unless you say you've lost your VA check and, you know, constituent service.
Yeah. Well, that's what you did wrong, Ralph, is you didn't enclose a, $500 million check.
Yeah, I should have thought of that. But, you know, just by comparison, I wrote 2 critical letters to the very right-wing Prime Minister of Canada in Ottawa, and back comes a formal acknowledgement saying they've absorbed my message and they're referring it to the respected ministry. Now, regardless of whether it had any change impact, at least they heard a point of view and they reassured the letter writer that it wasn't some dark hole, that they actually got it.
Right.
So
Remarkable.
Canada is still ahead of us in so many ways.
Remarkable. The book is Return to Sender, Unanswered Letters to the President, 2001 to 2015. It's the newest book from Ralph Nader, and Robert Reich plugged it. Louis Lapham, the founder and editor of Lapham's Quarterly, used to be with
Harper's.
Harper's, that's right. Yeah, I used to love reading his stuff in Harper's. Provided great blurbs on the back. It's a marvelous book. Ralph, I'm curious if your thinking has changed at all from your 2 previous books on the coming right-left alliance, the Unstoppable Alliance, and your suggestion earlier in a previous book that we need some left-wing billionaires to help out, given the way that the Supreme Court has re-rigged our elections and things.
Well, first of all, I think the left-right alliance is emerging every week. I mean, you see it beginning to happen in Congress. It's certainly going operational for minimum wage. When something comes in 70 to 80% support, you know there's a lot of left-right there.
Yeah.
and it's public opinion. We start out with ordinary people who call themselves liberals and conservatives, and they agree. I have 24 areas in that book where they don't like bailouts of banks. They call it, crony capitalism. They want to break up the big New York banks. They don't like the civil liberty restrictions, invasion of privacy of the Patriot Act. They want prison reform. They're getting 15 state legislatures now, left-right legislators pushing for juvenile justice reform. A lot of them who are libertarian conservatives don't like the empire. They don't like the bloated military. They want law and order on corporate crime, fraud, and abuse. We're divided and ruled by this polarization tactic of the ruling class. Yeah, there's polarization on things like school prayer, reproductive rights, but they like to divide us, red state, blue state, right, left. But on many transformations in this country, look at the support for solar energy everywhere. They're fighting the Koch brothers who want to put a tax on solar panels in southern legislatures because there's no such thing as a Republican or Democratic solar panel. So you see huge left-right, and that's the main political realignment I see. This doesn't affect elections. This isn't a commentary on elections. It says whoever is in the legislature, get the incumbents, left-right, to wake up and start respecting the acknowledged public opinion where left-right back home agrees.
Is this the sort of thing where we see like Republican Congressman Justin Amash from Michigan joining with progressives like Keith Ellison saying enough of the Patriot Act, for example?
Yeah, that's exactly the case. And one thing we should pay attention to is whenever you see liberal conservative people banding together around legislation, this isn't about compromise. This is about the union of distinctive, similar issues. So if they want to break up the big New York banks because they're too big to fail and they're going to fail on the taxpayers' back once again, this isn't about saying, well, let's just break half of them up. No, this is a left-right alliance, and it's an unstoppable political force on incumbents.
Yeah, Unstoppable, Ralph Nader's last book, which is brilliant. If you haven't bought it or read it, do so. And it's also available in libraries all over the country. His new book, Return to Sender, Unanswered Letters to the President. Ralph Nader, thank you for being with us, sir.
Thank you very much, Tom. Thank you, great listeners.